with the Bearded Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
All right, and Marcus in a different venue today. He's fancy live from his golf shop, the
First
Wildcat
shot
Golf Club.
Poppy.
So if you're ever in the Houston, Texas area, go pay him a
Come
visit.
see me.
Yeah.
Come see me.
Um, I don't know if anybody other than probably not even Brian Harmon had Brian Harmon on the open bingo card and winning this thing going away.
Right.
I mean, bro, this was about the most boring major we've had this year. It was, I mean, I know people
True.
were kind of like not even the Open with Wyndham Clark winning, pretty much, going away or just kind of holding it, down pretty much the entire way. I mean,
Yeah.
after round two, Brian Harmon had no less than a 5-stroke lead. I mean, it dropped down to four today, I believe, at some point, but
Yeah. That was it.
I, I mean, it was pretty dominating. What do you think about this dude? I will say early prediction: Brian Harmon will never win another major. I like the guy. Don't
Right.
get me wrong, but
Love
this
him.
is not something that he's going to be able to replicate or repeat. You look at. I think is think of another lefty. I think Mike Weir winning the Masters.
Yeah.
And yes, Brian Harmon has won in the past, but I think it's been about 5 or 6 years since his last win. What do you think, man? What do you think?
Same. I don't see it happening again. As lovable as Brian Harmon is, I just feel like he played very, very good golf, and I don't know if he'll ever play this good again. I mean, seriously, he messed up less than everybody. He made more birdies than everybody. He literally put all the stats together to go away with it. Like it was not even a question after the second round, like he said. I mean, first round, he shot just like a ho hum 64, 65, 65. I'm sorry, because he was like four
Yeah,
under. Then the next round is when he got to 10. And after he got to 10, nobody was even seeing him. Like a couple
no,
guys made a push. John Ron came out early. Saturday, tried to make a push, still to no avail on Sunday because once you go crazy low like a 63, you can't put that together again. Everything was working. And so that's why you saw
yeah.
him. He shot a even par or one over or whatever, or one under, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, Rory tried to make a push, our guy, but nothing was
Rory,
happening.
man.
Nothing was
Now
happening.
Rory would get some early birdies and then kind of flame
In
out.
the
So
middle,
what?
exactly. In the middle, nothing's happening. We're doing nothing.
So like
Mm,
he finished what 3 under today, and that was he
yeah.
went birdie
Another
birdie
one.
birdie from like on the front nine, and so yeah, it was just kind of, bro, can you get it together and put 4 days together in a major? I told you that's why I was disappointed with him winning last week
Yeah.
and not really. I don't know, man. Just bottle up some of that momentum without, winning.
True.
Winning is tough, and I put this in the notes for today that you think about how Brian Harmon performed over 4 days, and that's
Right.
you look at the amateur, right? Let's start with that the amateur guy, the 6'8" dude. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Shout out to him. Tied for the lead after day one. I had
Yeah. All
no,
praise.
I had no illusions that was going to continue. Right.
Right.
It's just saying hard. Like Sam Bennett in the Masters was an anomaly to be able to hang in there in the top 10 over 4 days, but to put
Agreed.
4 days of good golf together, that's pretty GD hard. Let's just be honest, man. Not most
Truly.
people cannot do that, and so that's why it's so hard to win a golf tournament. And when you do it, no matter on what stage it is, bringing it back to Rory, there's some bit of letdown that I got over the peak, I've crested, and the way that Rory won last week, kind of coming down to the final hole, playing well down the stretch, like there's
Yep.
some bit of relief that you get from that, and you're not at peak. It's kind of like leading up to the moment with your gal. You're like, okay, we've been flirting all day, and then wow, it happens and it's over and you kind of let down. And
Right.
it's hard to then go forward. I don't know, man. I love Rory to death. We both love him. But dude, it's just like another year without a major. We go on to
Right, man.
2024 and we're still waiting on him to get a major. So I don't know, man. What do you think?
It'll be 10
What's the
years.
forecast? 10 years,
Next
bro.
year it'll be 10 years since he won his last major, which was at Royal Liverpool. I mean, I he better get it in the next 5 before he hits his mid-30s. I don't know. Because by that point, I don't know if his mental will be there anymore. Again, like I told you, like we've talked about before, I think with him having a kid, gave him a little brief, gave him a little peace. But now with her growing older, then start getting into her own endeavors and him trying to be a present parent, he might
Yeah.
not even care about golf that much anymore. So I think he needs to go ahead and get it in this little window he has left of prime Rory, best driver that has ever lived, Rory, and try to eat from there. Because I don't know what happens after that little 5 years. I really don't. I really don't. And that's sad because just like you said, like just a pure Rory lover, pause, but like that's my guy. Like I just you know. But yeah, I just wish it was a little bit better for him consistently wise. I mean, he comes out of nowhere and it's like, dang, maybe Rory Surgeon. Then he does the same thing. Sunday
Yeah.
came out under par. Saturday came out under par. What does he do? 8 straight pars and then like birdie's the last. I'm like, okay, yeah, he finished strong. Yeah, after like 12 straight pars. Like, okay, come on, bro.
I know. I know. I feel
Come
like
on,
he
bro.
gets on cruise control, right? I feel like his
Right.
game is just so good that he just was like, okay, I don't know if it's like he expects, but I don't know. I really don't
No,
know.
I agree. I
Um,
think so.
and it's like he just puts it on like, okay, I'm hitting greens, I'm in the middle of the green, but he's not making putts, and I don't know, man. It is super frustrating. Um,
Once
to
again.
see him struggle. But I mean, when you think about his season, third in FedEx points, and
Leading the DP World Tour.
right, without playing, I'm sure that part of that is the majors, of course, but he
Right.
doesn't play that many events, and winning the Scottish Open last week, of course, goes a long way. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, dude's like dominating in every place but the majors, and that's honestly all we care about. At the end of the day, that is really what matters. It's what's
Yep.
got John Rahm at the top of the FedEx standings. Um, I feel like John Rahm is kind of, I don't know. I feel like he's going to take Rory's spot in terms of like just that guy. Um,
Yeah.
and Rory, like you said, he's got about a 5-year window to get it together and really capitalize off his physical talent. Not that we just
Yep.
expect him to fall off a cliff at any point in time. He's never had any really major injuries or whatnot. So there's still so much potential available, but something has to change. I know earlier in the year we talked heavily about him being involved in the PGA and Live talks and just all the stuff that's gone on in the background around that.
Yep.
He's got his own, the TGL league going on in the background. Just so many, he's juggling a bunch of things that aren't on
Truly.
course golf. So, man, like I said, shout out to Brian Harman. I mean, like it made it completely boring. I was watching it on the road today, and it really, I just peek at it every once in a while, sees that lead kept getting extended, but there really wasn't
Mm-hmm.
much to it. All the talk was about the weather. That's all Paul Azinger could talk about this morning. So kind
Always.
of, kind of, kind of, boring way to end the major season, and we head down to the
Yeah.
FedEx Cup again. Rom's got a pretty decent lead, and then the Ryder Cup, and then the season's over, man. I mean, the LPGA's got some majors to go. They still have pretty impactful golf to play, but
Yeah, the
um,
Evian's like in 2 weeks. It's not next week, but the week after, I'm pretty sure. It's coming up
yeah,
very quick.
yeah,
Yeah, Paul Azinger, he old, so he really, he getting on those repetitive statements and stuff, man. And I think
I know.
I just thinking about it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I guess I'll come back.
Because I was just thinking about it though, as we was talking about Brian Harman, like not even having to worry about it. Like I felt like anytime that I was watching live coverage, he would make a mistake or make a bogey or something like that, or come back to the field. Why did it feel like he made 2 birdies like the next 3 holes? Like it was just like you thought, buddy. Like I felt like
Yeah,
every time he got that birdie right back. It was
He was
insane.
locked
Like
in.
it was
He was
never
locked
like
in.
truly.
And and just because he's never been in that position, I mean, we've never seen Brian Harmon compete at the top of a major
Right.
leaderboard. You just expected, like, okay, man, this dude's playing out of his mind for 3 straight days. Day one, you can pretty much not you can't you can't win the tournament day one, but you can definitely lose
But
it,
you could
right? So
lose
he
it.
was just in
Right.
there, and day 2, 3, and 4, bro, nobody could touch him. I mean, like you said earlier, Rom put on a charge. I was expecting somebody to just kind of, Sepp Straka ended up, getting up there as well, but the gap just never really felt questionable. And like you said, he would
At
rally
all.
back. He'd make some birdies. If it looked unflappable. I don't know. I feel like the one thing that Azinger kept mentioning was the mental side of the game for Harmon, that he's had his mind wandered. I'm sure he has some insight behind
Yeah.
the scenes on that. But whatever he did to focus in and get his mind right and keep himself focused, he did a superb job of that. But week
Definitely.
to week, you just don't see Brian Harmon up there. I mean, again, this came out of nowhere.
Truly.
Anyone that put money on Brian Harmon, bro, they got paid. They are
I mean, his
in,
odds were
well,
like something like 1,600 to 1 or something like that. It was something like it was something unrationably wild for it for the numbers. And he was like, "Oh,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna make it." It was like, "Oh, I didn't think so, but guess you did, Mr. Harmon."
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, kudos to him. You cannot take it away from him. He will forever be a major tournament winner until his
Facts.
dying day. We just hope that, I mean, I don't know, man. This whole year has been a year of first time winners, first time major winners, and guys just kind of cresting and hitting a peak that we haven't seen. I was glad to see that Wyndham Clark, competed deep into the tournament as well, and he didn't see a big fall
Right.
off. We want to see these guys sustain, and see the next level of guys that are coming through.
One trick ponies are not fun anymore. We would prefer to see sustainability. We want to see a group of elite players that's like, oh, which one of these 6, 7 players is it going to be that's going to be competing to win? Like when Prime JT, Prime Spieth, Prime,
Mhm.
like even like you think about guys like Jason Day, even their guys was in the mix 2015, 2016, 2017. It was a conglomerate. It wasn't just one guy. It was multiple guys that were out there, and it was like, oh well, if JT's not competing, then Spieth is going to compete. And if Spieth is competing,
Yeah,
JT don't want to be outdone, so he might compete the same week or come right back the
right,
next week. I mean,
right.
it was crazy.
And we've seen a bit of that, right? So we know top of the game right now, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler,
Yep.
despite not having the majors, Rory McIlroy is still up there.
Yep.
We were talking pre-show about JT falling off and missing the
Mm,
cut this week, which was super disappointing. And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, honestly, on the show that
right.
he just hadn't looked like himself and missing cuts
Right.
at majors. I don't know, man. I feel like Max Homa is right there. Like I love Max Homa's game, um, but it doesn't always travel. Like Max Homa plays incredibly well on the west coast of the U.S., kind of Midwest
Right.
area, but when it gets to the Florida swing, Max is not always that great. Um, and so I feel like he's got that next. But we know what the top tier is, and then there's the kind of B to it tier that is really really good, and like it would take a couple of major wins to push them over the top and just kind of
Yep.
get them to where they're in our consciousness week to week. But I feel like also that there's this young crop of golfers coming up that like the window is short, man. I feel like there's
Really
these
is.
young cats are like crazy good early. So